The crisp linen tablecloth felt strangely cold against my skin. The soft glow of the candlelight, meticulously chosen to complement her dress, seemed to mock me. The delicate aroma of her favorite lilies, now a suffocating perfume, filled the air. It was our 10th anniversary, and I, fool that I was, had orchestrated what I thought was the perfect evening. Every detail had been meticulously planned, every element designed to evoke a decade of shared memories and whispered promises. The restaurant, the same one where I'd nervously proposed all those years ago. The wine, a vintage she'd once described as liquid gold. The gift, a diamond pendant, a symbol of enduring love, now a cruel irony hanging heavy in the velvet box nestled in my pocket. She'd been radiant, almost incandescent, throughout the meal. A sparkle in her eyes, a lilt in her laughter that I hadn't seen in months. I'd attributed it to the ambience, the occasion, my efforts. I'd preened internally, basking in the glow of her apparent happiness. I'd thought, perhaps foolishly, that the distance that had grown between us in recent times was finally closing. The waiter, a discreet shadow in the dimly lit room, approached our table with a folded note on a silver tray. He addressed her by name, a formality that struck me as odd. The sparkle in her eyes flickered, then vanished, replaced by a look of stark, unadulterated panic. The blood drained from her face, leaving her skin a ghastly white against the backdrop of the crimson tablecloth. My stomach churned. A cold dread, a premonition of something terribly wrong, coiled in my gut. The world seemed to slow, the clinking of cutlery, the murmur of conversations, all fading into a distant hum as I watched her. She unfolded the note with trembling fingers, her eyes darting across the words, each syllable a hammer blow against the fragile facade of our celebration. The seconds stretched into an eternity, each tick of the unseen clock amplifying the deafening silence that had descended upon our table. The carefully constructed illusion of a perfect evening shattered into a million pieces, each shard reflecting the growing suspicion that clawed at my throat. She crumpled the note in her fist, a desperate attempt to erase the words, to undo the message they carried. Her eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape, a way out of the unfolding nightmare. My heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat of betrayal echoing in my ears. I had to know. The need to see those damning words, to confirm the insidious whisper of doubt that had taken root in my mind, became an overwhelming compulsion. As she discreetly tried to drop the crumpled note beneath the table, I reached out, my hand steady despite the turmoil raging within me. "Let me get that," I said, my voice a strained whisper, a parody of the jovial husband I had been just moments before. My fingers brushed against hers, the contact sending a jolt of icy electricity through my veins. She flinched, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and guilt. I forced a smile, a grotesque imitation of normalcy, and retrieved the crumpled note. I smoothed it out, my hands trembling slightly as I deciphered the hastily scribbled words. A meeting, a hotel, a time, and a name. Rob from her office. The same Rob who had been inexplicably helpful with her recent, late-night projects. The same Rob whose lingering gaze I'd noticed at the office holiday party, dismissed at the time as harmless office flirtation. The world tilted on its axis. The carefully constructed reality I had inhabited for the past 10 years crumbled into dust. The air thickened, making it difficult to breathe. The restaurant, once a symbol of our love, now felt like a suffocating prison. I fought to maintain composure, to keep the raging storm within from erupting. I refolded the note, my fingers tracing the creases that held the evidence of her betrayal. I met her gaze, her eyes filled with a desperate plea for understanding, for forgiveness. "Everything all right?" I asked, my voice a chilling monotone, a stark contrast to the warmth I had exuded just moments before. She nodded, a jerky, unconvincing movement. Her lips trembled, forming words that never quite materialized. "Just a reminder about a work thing," she stammered, her voice barely a whisper. I forced a smile, a chilling parody of reassurance. "Of course," I said, the words dripping with a venom she couldn't yet comprehend. "I just need to use the restroom," I said, pushing my chair back, the legs scraping against the polished floor, the sound amplified in the sudden, suffocating silence. She didn't respond, her gaze fixed on the tablecloth, her face a mask of guilt and fear. I turned and walked away, my heart pounding a rhythm of cold, calculated fury. The wheels of my revenge were already turning, each rotation fueled by the burning betrayal that consumed me. The restroom was a sanctuary, a temporary reprieve from the suffocating pretense of normalcy. I splashed cold water on my face, the shock momentarily clearing the fog of betrayal. I stared at my reflection, a stranger staring back at me, his eyes filled with a chilling resolve. This wasn't the man who had meticulously planned a romantic anniversary dinner. This was a man forged in the fires of betrayal, a man consumed by a cold, hard fury. I wouldn't scream, I wouldn't shout. I would be the architect of my own justice. I didn't return to the table. Instead, I slipped out of the restaurant, the cool night air a welcome balm against the burning rage that coursed through my veins. I hailed a cab, giving the driver the name of the hotel mentioned in the note. The journey felt like an eternity, each streetlight a rover on the road to confirmation, to the undeniable truth that would shatter the remnants of my carefully constructed life. The hotel bar was dimly lit, a haven for clandestine encounters. I spotted her immediately, her back to the entrance, her laughter echoing in the hushed space. And there he was, Rob, his arm draped possessively over her shoulder, his words dripping with false sincerity. I watched them, a silent observer, a ghost in the shadows, gathering my evidence, each stolen kiss, each whispered word, a nail in the coffin of the deceitful affair. My phone became my weapon, capturing their betrayal in a series of damning photographs. The gut-wrenching pain of betrayal was a constant companion, a dull ache in my chest. But alongside it, a steely resolve hardened within me. This wasn't the end. This was the beginning of my reclamation. I approached their table, my footsteps echoing in the sudden silence that followed my appearance. Rob's face paled, his eyes widening in disbelief, then narrowing in a flash of panicked recognition. My wife's carefully crafted mask of composure crumbled, revealing the raw fear beneath. I didn't yell, I didn't raise my voice. My words were measured, precise, each syllable dripping with the icy venom of betrayal. Rob, I began, my voice a low growl, let's talk about Taylor. I used her middle name, a name he wouldn't know, a subtle assertion of my intimate knowledge, a stark reminder of my place in her life. I watched as the color drained from his face. He stammered, trying to formulate a denial, a justification, anything to escape the tightening noose of my accusations. I didn't give him the chance. I continued, my voice calm, steady, each word a carefully placed blow. Taylor hates lilies, I said, my eyes fixed on his. She's allergic. She prefers roses, specifically the deep red ones, the ones that remind her of her grandmother's garden. Rob's eyes flickered with uncertainty, the confident facade cracking under the weight of my words. He glanced at my wife, seeking confirmation, a lifeline in the rising tide of his exposed lies. She avoided his gaze, her face a mask of shame and fear. She also hates dry red wine, I continued, my voice a chilling monotone. She prefers a crisp Sauvignon Blanc, chilled just so. And she would never, ever wear that dress to a clandestine meeting. It's her anniversary dress, the one she wore when I proposed 10 years ago. Each revelation chipped away at the foundation of their fabricated reality, exposing the shallowness of their connection, the flimsy lies they had built their affair upon. Rob's face was ashen, his eyes darting between my wife and me, the realization of his exposed deception dawning in his eyes. I think, I said, my voice laced with a subtle threat, you've misjudged Taylor. You see, you thought you knew her, you thought you understood her. But you were wrong. You only saw what she wanted you to see, a carefully constructed illusion designed to lure you into her web of deceit. I leaned closer, my voice dropping to a whisper, and now, Rob, you're going to pay the price for your arrogance. I didn't elaborate. I didn't need to. The unspoken threat, the implication of professional misconduct, the potential ruin of his career, hung heavy in the air. I turned and walked away, leaving him to stew in the wreckage of his exposed lies, the weight of his impending downfall crushing him. I returned to the restaurant, the scene of my initial devastation now a stage for my final act. She was still there, her face buried in her hands, her body trembling with suppressed sobs. I approached her, the silence amplifying the weight of my presence. I placed the photographs on the table, the glossy images reflecting the harsh reality of her betrayal. I know, I said, my voice devoid of emotion, a flat statement of fact. She looked up, her eyes red-rimmed, her face streaked with tears. She began to speak, a torrent of justifications, excuses, pleas for forgiveness pouring from her lips. I listened patiently, my face impassive, my heart a block of ice. When she finally subsided, her voice hoarse from weeping, I spoke. "It's over," I said, my voice cold, final. "I want a divorce. And I'm taking everything." Her eyes widened in disbelief, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. She pleaded, she bargained, she offered promises she couldn't keep. I remained unmoved, my resolve unwavering. I had given her 10 years of my life, 10 years of love and loyalty. She had repaid me with betrayal. Now, it was time for me to reclaim my life. The following weeks were a blur of legal proceedings, each meeting a stark reminder of the life we had built, now being systematically dismantled. The apartment, once a sanctuary of shared dreams and whispered promises, became a battleground, every object a contested territory. She fought, of course, clinging desperately to the remnants of her privileged existence, but her arguments were hollow, her pleas falling on deaf ears. I had been a fool, blinded by love, but now, my vision was crystal clear. The divorce was swift, brutal, and entirely one-sided. My lawyer, a shark in a tailored suit, eviscerated her defenses, exposing the flimsy foundations of her arguments. She lost everything. The apartment, the car, the investments, all gone. Her carefully constructed image, the facade of a perfect wife and successful professional, shattered into a million pieces. I didn't relish in her downfall, but I felt no pity. She had made her bed, and now, she had to lie in it. The whispers started almost immediately. The social circles she had so meticulously cultivated turned their backs, the invitations drying up, the phone calls going unanswered. Her carefully curated social media presence, once a testament to her perfect life, became a ghost town, her posts met with silence or, worse, thinly veiled disdain. The whispers turned into rumors, spreading like wildfire through the city's elite, each retelling amplifying the details of her infidelity, her downfall a cautionary tale whispered in hushed tones at cocktail parties. Rob, too, faced the consequences of his actions. The rumors reached his workplace, his professional reputation tarnished beyond repair. He was passed over for promotions, his colleagues distancing themselves, the whispers of his affair a constant undercurrent in the office hallways. His ambitious climb up the corporate ladder came to a screeching halt, his carefully constructed career crumbling under the weight of his exposed lies. I hadn't lifted a finger, yet his downfall was complete, a testament to the devastating power of truth. I sold the apartment, a symbolic severing of ties, a cleansing ritual. I moved to a smaller place, a quiet haven overlooking the river, the constant flow of water a soothing reminder of the passage of time, the cleansing power of change. I started spending more time outdoors, hiking in the mountains, breathing in the crisp air, feeling the sun on my face. The world felt vibrant again, the colors more vivid, the sounds sharper, the simple act of breathing a profound pleasure. I reconnected with old friends, the ones who had been sidelined during my marriage, the ones who had seen the cracks in the facade, the ones who had warned me. They welcomed me back with open arms, their friendship a balm to my wounded spirit. We laughed, we reminisced, we shared stories, the bonds of our shared history reforged in the fires of my ordeal. I started taking photography classes, a long-forgotten passion reignited. The world, once viewed through the lens of my wife's expectations, now became my own canvas, each photograph a testament to my newfound freedom, my reclaimed vision. I found solace in the quiet moments, the patient observation, the capturing of fleeting beauty. The memories of Taylor, once a constant presence, began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of peace. I didn't forget, not entirely, but the sharp edges of betrayal softened, the burning rage replaced by a quiet acceptance. The scars remained, a reminder of the ordeal I had endured, but they no longer defined me. They were a testament to my resilience, a symbol of my survival. One evening, months after the divorce was finalized, I found myself at a gallery opening, my photographs displayed alongside the work of other aspiring artists. The room buzzed with conversation, the clinking of champagne flutes a melodic counterpoint to the hushed appreciation of the art. I stood near the back, observing the crowd, a quiet observer, a ghost in my own life. A woman approached me, her smile warm, her eyes filled with genuine interest. She complimented my work, her words insightful, her observations perceptive. We talked for hours, about art, about life, about the things that truly mattered. There was a connection, a spark, a flicker of something new and exciting. As the evening drew to a close, she turned to me, her eyes sparkling in the soft light. I'd love to see more of your work, she said, her voice a gentle invitation. Perhaps over coffee. I smiled, a genuine smile, a smile that reached my eyes, a smile that reflected the newfound peace I had discovered within myself. I'd like that very much, I replied. We walked out of the gallery together, the cool night air a welcome caress against my skin. The city lights twinkled in the distance, a promise of possibilities, a glimpse into a future I hadn't dared to imagine just months before. I looked at the woman beside me, her laughter echoing in the night, and felt a surge of hope, a sense of anticipation. The past was a closed chapter, a story of betrayal and resilience. The future was a blank page, waiting to be written, a new beginning, filled with promise and possibility. I had reclaimed my life, and now, I was ready to live it, on my own terms, with my own vision, with my own heart, finally free.